Pueblo, 1350. Fox Sports Pueblo, 1350. This is the John Wristen Show, brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's join the voices of the pack, Jim Brooks and Joe Cervi, along with CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves head coach, John Wristen.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Andy Max. It is the John Wristen Show. Yeah, go ahead and clap for the coach. And roar for the coach. And howl for the coach, for that matter.
Tundra's here.
Love it when Tundra's here. And Tundra loves
it. Tundra right there.
Tundra loves being here as well because she knows there's chicken wings in her future.
Yep. She's no dummy.
And I have to know when Tundra's here also, if I do order the slopper with the green chili, to check my chili. You know what they did to me a couple weeks ago? They threw a little doggy snack in there to see if they could sneak it by me, and they did. Tastes like apples. A little sweet. Well, that's what you got to be worried about, Johnny, when you're me.
Well, Jimmy, I think only one of you can deserve that.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, one guy that does deserve to be in the quarterfinals is you, my man.
Oh, it's this program. It's not me. It's this whole program, and it's our fans. It's everyone a part of this. Is kind of cool that we're playing a game here at the 1st of December.
Well, it has to be nice to be at home after that trip. You know, just tell the folks what you guys, just a brief synopsis of your trip starting Thursday.
I don't think we got enough time to go through. Well, we practiced Thanksgiving morning and try to get the guys that were going to go home and have a chance to get out a decent time. And it was pretty nice in the morning to be able to get out of there. But I moved Thanksgiving dinner up an hour, so we ate at 1, and by the time 2 o'clock hit, that snow was coming in, and so we loaded up the buses and tried to get on those about 3, and it wasn't bad until you hit Raton Pass, and it was I still got white knuckles from trying to help that bus driver drive right there, and it was funny. A lot of the guys, you have seatbelts on these buses now. And a lot of guys afterwards said they were putting on seatbelts right there.
Cinching it up a little tighter.
And so, you know, the drive from Raton over to Amarillo was bad in spots, not all the way, but that black ice started happening as soon as we got to Amarillo, and
right.
we're on I-40 there, and we're only about 5 miles out, and you could just see semis just fishtailing and right. Cars just going, and I'm saying we only got 5 more miles to get there, and I was so glad to get to the hotel, and all the kids were really glad on Thursday, and so our plan on Thursday was let them sleep in. We're going to have a couple meetings, going to practice, and then go to Golden Corral and drive to Lawton, Oklahoma, but the weather kept getting worse, and so I said, we're eating breakfast, pack your bags, and we're going. And that trip was supposed to be about a 3.5 hours, and I think we made it in about 6.5 hours, to tell you the truth.
Right.
And it was we get out of Amarillo just a little bit, and they call it the overpass a little bit, and there's only a little hill, but semis were jackknife, and they were turning around, and one semi was backing up the hill, trying to back up the hill and get there, and so we were far enough back that we had to get off on the front of those roads, or else we would have been right in the middle of that.
My.
And that was less than a quarter mile from us, and so we were fortunate. We got off and then drove a little bit, and that you could feel that bus. I never felt a bus kind of fishtail as you do in a car, and as we used to do it when we were younger, and try to make it fun. It was a lot of fun in a bus, I guarantee you. And so that was one of those experiences. We got to Lawton, and we got to a very nice hotel, and I'm glad we stayed in Lawton, and our kids, we made it through. And, I was worried about Saturday morning, so we get up Saturday morning, and it figured about an hour, so I gave about an hour, 20 minutes, so we got to the stadium a little bit earlier, but it was just all raining as you go in, and as soon as we got there, ended up playing the game, as we're going to talk about then, but then we took off to Amarillo, and the credit to our president and our leadership of our university, they kept hearing things were getting worse. And so Kenny West was driving down there, and he had a couple guys, and they kept texting me. He says, hey, it's great all the way to Amarillo, and we're going around. We're going to head on through. And so they went up north on 335 or whatever, that around the circle part of Amarillo, and they said it's getting bad again. And so I made the call. We stayed in Amarillo Saturday night and ordered 140 double cheeseburgers at Whataburger. They had to call in extra guys and do that. It only took the longest order with the longest trip of double cheese Whataburgers, and so that was about 2.5 hours for that. And so we got everybody to bed and got up Sunday morning, left Sunday, and we got here at 2. So the never-ending trip with the signature win is what we're calling this over Thanksgiving. Thanks to the NCAA, but we're still playing here. We're still playing at home, and that took the whole first segment in a nutshell about how we traveled.
Hey, I think people needed to know just how rough it was. I know when you were texting us, Joe was say, "Hey, don't come."
John actually. Am I on there?
There we go.
John actually called me Monday or Friday morning. He said, have you left yet? And I said, no, I was picking up the rental car. I always rent a Beast just so we could have some traction. And I was at the rental car place, and I said, no, I'm getting my car now. He goes, you may want to rethink it, man. It may not be worth it, because it just was nasty from the time we left to Amarillo. It was like... It was bad, and we took the back route to Amarillo, which we'll never take again, ever. Even in good roads, we will never go that way again. But and once we got to Lawton, it was like, okay, we endured. That was okay. But thanks for the call and giving us that. But I'm glad we went, because
we felt like we had to try it.
Well, I knew it was going to be a battle, and you guys battled through it.
Yeah.
And
we're grinders like you, Coach.
What's that?
We play them one game at a time.
We're grind. grind.
Listen to you guys. Every mile?
We put our head down for 10.5 hours, and if it was good enough, it was good enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every couple miles.
Put your head down, went to work, huh?
We went to work.
Have an almond? Okay.
The ebbs and flows of our trip.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad I was on the bus then.
Yes, you were.
All right, let's talk about the game, Johnny. Started off... I think one of the key points of the game was winning the coin toss and having them take the ball. I think in retrospect, they're probably kicking themselves, you know what, we should have won the coin toss and taken the win in that, because I think that when you guys were able to have the win and stop them on that first possession, get 2 quick touchdowns on them, I think that was one of the keys of the game, is getting with the wind.
Well, it was...
what would you... Now, let's put in your... So what would... you took the choice, but what if it had been your choice after you... If they had won the toss and deferred to you, what would you have done? Would you have taken the ball, or would you have kicked off? What do you think you would have done?
I probably would have kicked off, and I would have... I think the second half would have had a chance to make my call there, if it was really bad. But at that time, for us, it was going to affect the kicking game, which is a vital role. Don't get me. I'm not trying to minimize that, but I thought that I would have done the same thing. But I think for their offense, it kind of stymied them a little bit, and it helped us. And I'm not taking anything away our great defense played. Our defense played unbelievable football.
Man, they did.
The story of the game is not jumping out 14-0. It's the story of the game, to me, is those first 2 series, 3 and out as quickly as possible. And because our defense was on point, and it was everybody's in their gaps playing fast. I mean, Josh Croy had another outstanding game. Tony Campton was
he was a beast.
He was just a monster in there. And, Morgan Fox was steady Eddie, and Sam Singleton did great, and Ben Estica. But Brandon Pear was a man amongst boys. I think Kevin Cuff was on the right spot. Got Joe Rosenbach a little bit, Seth Brown. It's just all those things. So I still would have done the same thing the way we're built.
Okay, and then got ahead 14-0, and then it flipped. So you thought, well, maybe they're going to get the wind in the second quarter. And you guys were backed up against your own goal line, and then you guys just drove it into the wind right down the whole way. Didn't get the touchdown, but it still was like, hey, that was a great drive because it took away their spirit. Joe and I were watching them. It was like, they knew they were beat right there.
Well, it really would have been if we could have got 7 out of it.
Yeah.
If we'd been able to punch that in a little bit, and we'll get those things corrected. But it's those are part of playoff football. You're not going to have your way. The goal lines get a little closer, things get a little tougher, and obviously we got to be much better on it. But I do think when we flipped our challenge and everybody on the sideline said, let's make this a big-time drive. Let's show them what we're made of right there. It wasn't so much the 60-yard runs. It was 5, 4, 3, another 5, another 6-yard runs, and being able to get that done. And I was really proud of what we were able to do.
I told Jim on the air, I said, that's going to be the drive John's going to want to talk about on Wednesday, because that's a CSU Pueblo drive. It's your own 4, and you just methodically, needing a first down, you get one by a yard or by 2, all the way down the field, and it burned clock. It shortened the game when you're on the road. It kept the lead, and I go, this is the quintessential packed drive.
Well, what's nice is they had trouble moving in the wind, and the byproduct of that was that we were going to grind it out, and that was a 9-minute drive.
Yeah.
And even though we were up 14-0 at that point, the key was that we were able to hold that ball for 9 minutes and take the win out of the factor of the equation at all, because it wasn't a factor in us in that game like it was in the first quarter for them. And so we were able to take that away, and I kept saying, I don't want to punt in here. I don't want to punt in here. So let's get it done. And Coach Shaw and Coach Hecklinski and Sammy Sewell and Coach Herring and Coach Roundtree and Jake, they did a great job of putting that game plan together and making sure that we were able to have those third down conversions and being able to do that. Even though in the game we were only 2 of 14 in third down conversions, those 2 were right there. But also in the first drive, we showed a little different formation that we came up. It was 3rd and 6, and we popped a run on him, and that got Cam down the sidelines. And once I saw Cam do that, I thought it was going to be one of those days for us.
Is that the drive where Kieran caught the pass and kind of broke his way free on that?
I think that was the one into the wind when Kieran...
Right.
That was the second drive, excuse me. We scored on the third play of the game, and it was a great setup. We ran a wheel. AJ did a nice job. We had a great protection, and we ran a little out and up and got it cleared, and Kieran was able to haul it in and get a quick start to us. So you could feel the energy on a cold, windy, damp day in Wichita Falls. That energy was coming to the CSU Pueblo sidelines.
Yeah, their head coach, Bill Maskell, he couldn't believe that he lost the game to a team that completed 3 passes. He just was like, he looked at it and he had his head down and he read the stat sheet and he goes, they completed just 3 passes, and I just off the cuff, just because I'm said, one went to the house for 48 yards. And he looked up and he goes, you from Pueblo? I said, yeah. You that fella I talked to last week? I said, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Well, that pass that he did complete for the touchdown, it was tough throwing into the wind, but it's also, conversely, when you're throwing with the wind, it's tough to put the ball on the money as well. And, I mean, that was a great pass. But, hey, when it took off, we're kind of watching, has it got enough? And then the wind just took it.
It kind of carried it just a little bit, that extra 2 yards.
And, of course, Kieran, you can't overthrow that guy. He ran right through it.
Well, it was one of those things we had. They were going to man us up and load the box up, and we needed to get on them right away. And Jeff did a nice job of calling it early. We wanted to get that in, and we were able to, convert. It wasn't pretty, but we were able to find a way to convert on that.
All right, we're going to take a timeout right here. We'll come back. We'll talk about the rest of the ball game. We've also got a bunch of questions lined up. One of them deals with the next topic when we come out of the break. That's to set you up. See how you're thinking about that. What is Jim going to ask me now? But all right, we are here at Andy Mack. Still plenty of time to get on down there. We've got our cordon bleu balls and we've got our jalapeno popper balls.
We also got people want to come up and ask questions. We got a bunch of tickets we need to give away and
balls. Speaking of balls,
I bought 4 special tickets for people in Section D. I bought for them to come if they want to answer some questions. But they got to ask some questions to come be a part of it.
All right. We're looking forward to that. Andy Max, John Wristen Show right here on Fox Sports Pueblo.
John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
And welcome back to Andy Max, John Wristen Show. Playoff edition. We love playoff edition, Andy Max, John Wristen Show editions.
Hey, there's not too many programs that has their president and their husband here that is excited to go celebrate Pac football and be a part of it. And so I really appreciate Leslie and Dave and what they stand for in CSU Pueblo. So, like I said earlier about the recommendations she gave, so I have to give another shout out because it's been awesome.
Thank you, President DeMar. Sorry I have my back to you, but I'm working here.
Oh, she's visiting.
All right, okay.
She's occupied.
All right, John, I told you we had a tough question for you to start our question segment. And, some of these questions I know you get a little squeamish and a little uncomfortable you have to answer from the fans, but, Madison and Abigail Turner.
Uh-oh.
We're going to start right off the bat, hit you with a hardball. How did the boys like the cookies we made for their bus ride down to Texas?
Well, they were one of the best cookies I've ever tasted. They were very well decorated. It was they all loved them, and it was a nice package. Speaking of Thanksgiving meal that everybody would contribute, we had a nice barbecue meal on Wednesday night by Welty's, and everybody helped contribute to that, and our kids really felt like at home, and there's Matarochis came up to help serve, and the Turners were up there helping serve, and Andrea Aragon and Darren Smith, and their two boys are up there, and it was really, really kind of a fun deal, and our kids got the biggest kick out of it. But we had a lot of things at Thanksgiving that families brought in, and Stephanie Hendrick, Coach Alan Hendrick's wife, kind of organized it, and all the families did something, and so we had a great Thanksgiving, and those cookies were the best treat of them all, Abigail and Madison.
Nice. If you got a question for the coach, 719-671-7574. If you're in the house, we got these NCAA championship footballs. You have to just come up and state your name and ask a question. You could even give an alias, I guess, if you're under witness protection or something like that. We got tickets as well. So come on up, ask a question with the live mic.
And these aren't even. We have Thunder Hill tickets and the Wolf Den tickets, but John Wristen, out of his own pocket, bought tickets in Section D, great section to watch the football game. But you have to be here, and you have to ask a question on the air.
I'm investing in the show, the Larry Moe and Curly show.
Who's coming up there?
Trying to take it to a different level here.
I see some people trying to stir around. They're thinking about it.
He's raising the stakes.
They're thinking about coming to ask a question here. I'm seeing people. Come on. All right, come on over. Come on, ready? Turn the mic on there. Slide the dial up. All right.
Hi, this
Name,
is
rank, and serial number.
Tundra's dad, Mark, and we just want to know how's the health of our offensive line and how's everybody doing this week?
Great question.
Leave it to a doctor to ask a health question.
Yes, a doctor. He wants to check the charts.
Yes,
okay.
Well, as soon as they come out from under the gas, they'll be all right, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Wake me up.
Zach Martinez went out in the first series of the game, and we thought he might have a broken clavicle, and so x-rays proved negative, and so it's a pain management now about whether he's able to play. I think there's a good chance he will play. It's about how much and what he can do. Chance Rodriguez is having symptoms again from a concussion that we got after the Mines game, but other than that, we're pretty healthy in the offensive line. So, good question. So, yeah. So we'll be able to do that.
Now, do you want a ball? Do you want tickets?
Hey, there you go, Mark.
Go for the ball.
You find a Sharpie.
You should have a ball.
Tristan will autograph that for you.
All right, who else in the house here? That's how you do it. It's just that easy.
You,
we've got one more football here. We've got tickets. Who else wants to come up and ask the coach a question?
The special tickets. That's
maybe they can't see the ball. This is the ball. Looks good on your mantle. Look at that baby. Oh, boy. Who wants to come up and ask? All right.
Let's get another one.
All right. Okay.
Oh, there's a question.
There we go.
All right, grab the mic.
We got another question. Hey, how are you?
State your name.
Mike Brooks.
Slide it up there.
Slide the...
There you go.
There you
Slide
go.
the
Now,
mic on.
there you go.
Mike Brooks.
And what's your question,
Mike
Coach?
Brooks. No relation, I hope.
Oh, no.
All right. Yeah. Oh, no.
All Brookses are good, though.
That's right.
Yeah. This is a 2014 ball. I just want to know what it's going to take to get a 2015 ball in my hand for next year.
Wow.
Well, we got to go 1-0 for the next 3 weeks, and that's what it's going to take. So, I like the direction our team's going, and obviously, we have a hell of a football team, and I think we can compete with anybody in the country, and I'm excited to have a chance to play one of the best teams in the country in Grand Valley and the best history. And we need everybody out in Pueblo to help support, because we need everybody in Pueblo's support to help get another ball. So that's a good question. Thank you.
Do you want the 2014 ball, or do you want some tickets?
I'd rather have the tickets.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
These are Coach Wristen tickets.
These are I bought those, and so I was going to give fans to be able to do that. So,
all right.
Okay. So.
All right, we're rolling.
All right, beautiful.
Here.
Thanks, Mike.
And if you come up here, or if you just smile nice at John or Jim, I know you won't smile nice at me. We got the coolest shirt in the history of shirts.
Oh yes.
These are the John Wristen Show
signature shirt.
Those are good for painting.
These
That's good.
are the
good for painting.
ever.
They're good for painting.
All right, we got another question. Oh, you want the shirt? They just want the shirt. All right.
There you go. They're good for painting.
Man, they love the shirt.
They like the shirt.
That's great.
Yard work.
Yard work.
Yard work.
Paint. We'll let
Cleaning
Jim
up
throw at you.
messes.
Change the oil in them. Does everybody change the oil in them?
Oh, here comes another shirt.
We can't keep the shirts in stock.
Yeah.
All right.
John will autograph these for you. Oh,
there we go. Look at that.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
That's because they don't want to go on the air. They
don't want to ask any questions. They just want the free stuff. They just want the free stuff.
We still got shirts. Smile, you get a shirt.
We have figured out our problem with their show. We just need to hand out free stuff.
Yeah,
it's all free.
And it's the John L. Smith thing. Smile.
Hey, speaking of which, he just took another job.
He did. Where?
That's it.
Yeah, have a shirt.
There you go.
I don't know the sizes. I'm just kind of throwing them.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit you have to find a little kid.
This is an adult medium.
All right. Joe will hash out the size.
This is a large. There you go.
All right. What size? What size? What size job did John L. Smith take? I missed that.
Division II job. He left Fort Lewis today.
Yeah.
To Kentucky something or other. I don't know. He left Fort Lewis today. The new coach at Fort Lewis is the old coach, Ed Riffolato.
Oh, they named Ed?
They did.
All right.
They named Ed Riffolato the coach, and so John L. Smith, we got 2 years of... They're actually great phone calls. They really were. I mean, I enjoyed him. But it's a Division II job. It's a program that's struggling. It's a university that's
closer to home for him.
His kids are an hour away in Louisville, and so I'm sure
good for him.
That's the only reason why he did that. But, it wasn't a step up. It was actually a step down because the program that he took, I'd never even heard of it, Kentucky Eastern or Kentucky State, and they're terrible. So,
well, he's got a chance to build. Another rebuilding job. No pressure.
Well, I hate to see him go.
He was kind of fun, though. I mean, different kind of
go. He's a class act, and it was nice being able to compete with him for 2 years. And so he was here 3 years.
2, I thought, wasn't it?
3.
Was it 3?
He's been here one. He came here in 2000.
Oh, his first year, and then you guys there, and then
he came back.
Okay,
so
it was 3 years.
He had 3 years here. So, the AD there, Gary Hunter, he's also the NCAA rep for our games because he's on the regional game. Is a great guy.
He was here the U Indy game. Talked to him a little bit. Yeah,
and he'll be here for our game versus Grand Valley.
He is a good guy.
He is a super guy.
He's an RMAC guy. He wants what's best for the conference, and he likes to see anybody succeed if it's not his team.
Right.
All right, we've got another football to give away. We got a couple more shirts. We got tickets. We'll do that on the other side here, the bottom of the hour break. We are at Andy Max. It is the John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo.
Fox Sports Pueblo 1350. The John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
Ruckus, Andy Max, John Wristen Show. And the people are pumped up here tonight.
Micah Gomez is in the house. Look at her go.
Yeah.
And then she runs.
Yeah,
Here's
run
her
away.
name over the loudspeaker. She's learning it at an early
You can't
age.
run away from the speaker.
That's Chili's daughter.
If you page somebody in a bar, you run. And she ran.
And it's also
Jen
the
Gomez
best volleyball coach around.
She's the best volleyball coach in this room right now.
All right. I think so, yeah. I think that deserves
She's the
round of
best
applause.
volleyball coach.
Exactly.
We love Jen.
I think she's awesome.
All right, if you got a question for the coach, 719-671-7574. You can text it in. I had 3 of them today, John, dealing with one topic, so we'll just lump them all together. Halftime. Going toward the end of the first half. You're up 17-0. Get an interception. You take over the ball at the 41-yard line. You ran 2 plays into the middle, went to the locker room. Explain your reasoning for that. You know, Joe and I kind of hashed it out over the air thinking, well, you know what? He's just comfortable being ahead 17-0. Doesn't want disaster to happen.
Well, I look at it this way. Your number one objective is to win the ball game, okay? And in those situations, to me, you're up 17-0. You just got a turnover. Obviously, another touchdown or a field goal, but you're going into the win, okay?
So being at the 40 is like being at year 30 or something like that. You're thinking of
to me, and the second part of that is this. I don't want to give them any momentum. We just had it. What you can gain a lot, but you also have a chance to lose that. I got conservative, but when you're up 17-0, you got the ball, you're going into the win. It's not the greatest conditions to throw. It's not the greatest conditions to run. All we needed is one of those guys to slip, get rolled up on, or doing those things. And so I'm comfortable at that point. And I think there's a fine line there. And I agree the other way too. I mean, but at that time, I'm comfortable going in at halftime in a hostile environment in that stadium, playing a number 1 seed and going 17-0 versus trying to give them another. All they had to go was 20 yards to go kick a field goal if we turned the ball over doing those things. And so it's more about being conservative and figuring out how do you get to halftime and keep everybody healthy at that point.
All right, sounds good. That's kind of what we figured.
Did you have to talk yourself into that? Does that go against kind of you as a coach and your philosophy? You're usually a hammer down, full steam ahead kind of guy.
You know, sometimes greed is not better. And more is not better. And so I think at that point, you know, if the score's different, there's this whole scenario on all those different things. And so we did have some timeouts. But, you know, in those environments, I'm trying to keep everybody going in the same direction and be 58 strong. And why do you need to take another chance on that? And so that's me. And in that moment in that game, I think I sure in the heck would do it again.
All right, Kevin Stavely up in Gillette, Wyoming. He's the president of the Wyoming chapter of the Thunderwolves fan club.
Welcome, Kevin.
All right, he wants to know if that was one of the wildest atmospheres you've ever been in for a game, considering the weather conditions. You look across to the number 1 seed, and they've got 500 tops in their stands. But like Joe and I said, they were announcing, don't go out on the roads, don't go out on the roads. Well, everybody adhered to that. They pay attention, I guess. So it was just kind of it wasn't a great atmosphere for the home team in that ball game. Is that kind of wild to you?
Well, it really, you know, I tried to, from the day one that we knew we had to stay in Lawton, Oklahoma versus Wichita Falls, I kind of used it as a motivational tool about us versus them the whole time. Us versus the state of Texas, us versus Lone Star, us in our program understanding doing things right and making sure that we held them accountable. And so, our guys didn't faze us one bit. I thought we handled everything great. And so I really didn't pay attention because, you know, in all reality, when you jump up and you go 7-0 on your first drive, then you go 3 and out, you take the crowd right out of it. Then you jump up again and go 14-0 on them. You take the crowd right out of that the whole time. And a few times when we made mistakes, we let them back in it, and you could hear that crowd a little bit. And so what I'd noticed in walking in at halftime, their 15 fans or vocal fans that were there was really, I don't know if they were yelling at their guys, trying to get them motivated or not, but there was some dialogue going on with that. And I said, all right.
Yeah,
we got what we wanted.
Oh, yeah, no, they were screaming right below us.
Yeah.
Tackle somebody! Catch the ball!
Yeah.
And it was probably his son. Yeah, come on!
Exactly. Well, my favorite, I told Joe, everybody, the people have been by, my favorite line of the broadcast was, these fans just can't wait to get home to drink their dinner. That's just what I thought, well, the Midwestern State fans. All right. Ken Pranick checking in, wants to know how many hours of video have your coaches watched this week? Like when you dive into it, is it just nonstop, or do you have your video guys cut it up? We've seen them. I've seen them in action. They kind of dial up packages you want. They probably are in step with you. But how many hours do you think you sit in front of your computer watching?
Wow. Well, let's start with Sunday, that you're in there at probably no later than 10. And that's usually 10 to 5 is when we meet as a staff, so whatever those hours are, and then afterwards.
So this week you had to do a lot of that on the bus.
What's that?
This week you had to do a lot of that on the bus, I'm assuming.
You know, I can't do a whole bunch on the bus. I just can't. I'm more worried about keeping us on the road. I know I don't have any control over, but
okay.
I'm trying to talk to the bus driver, make sure he's on the road, I'm paying attention, and
you and Ralph Turner have something in common then.
Yeah, well, good. It's nice to be compared to Ralph. So, but anyway, I think we spend, me, myself, and our staff, we spend a lot of hours on, I don't know whether you can say how many hours it is, but, just for example, we work Sundays, it's 8 or 10 to about 8 or 9 at night, and then you're in here early on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, by 6 in the morning, and you're not leaving the office till 7:30, 8:30 at night, and so those are good 12, 14-hour days. That a lot of it is watching film and talking to players and getting that done. So.
Tendencies. It's all about tendencies. It's neat though. If you just go in the field house one day and on a Monday morning and go just down the corridor, and they're all in their own offices. They're all decorated differently. I mean, you go to Leo's office, you think you're in the islands. And you go to Hunter's office, and you think you're in Sons of Anarchy. And you go to John's office, and you think you're at the trophy shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Trophies everywhere. And
we're trying to get a trophy case built so we can show that off. But.
So it's different, but they're all focused on their group, and then I assume you all collect what you all do and then put it all together.
Yeah, our offensive staff watches games together. Everybody has a little different way to find the empirical data that helps them prepare and help teach. I really believe coaching is teaching, and coaching is your best teaching. You've got to be a great teacher to be a great coach, and so I think our guys do a great job of teaching. They do a lot of film study with them, break it up and give them cut-ups, and we have a great young staff guys that do a great job of putting that empirical data in the computer for us.
Next question, got 2 more here. We're going to do this one, and we're going to do the other one on the other side of the break because it deals with our game prep for Grand Valley State. So the next one here, East High plays in the state championship, of course, this week. I'm sure you're happy about that. Congratulate the East Eagles. Any players on that team or other Pueblo schools that you'd love to be Thunderwolves next year? Or can you even comment on that probably on the air? It's probably you can't say a particular guy, can you?
I think that what a tremendous job Coach Meisner and his staff has done a great job.
Former Thunderwolf, of course.
And I think, they've done a great job of holding that crew together, and they do have really some outstanding players, and I hope a couple of them come and check us out. I think throughout the city there's probably 6 guys that we are on our radar, and hopefully I really look at it, 1, are they here to go get their degree and are quality students, and 2, do they have the passion to go back to Kansas City? And that's how you got to recruit, is do you have your passion and work ethic? And sometimes you don't really know, and you try to evaluate all that, but I believe there's 6 to 8 kids in the city of Pueblo that could fit that mold.
All right, sounds good. And we'll get onto that. The reason John can't, it's a violation of NCAA. You can't say
well, I mean,
guy on the air. You can't.
Yeah. National Signing Day is February 4th, I think.
I think it's second or third this year.
Yeah.
It's the first Wednesday in February.
Right. So, I mean, it's not too far away, but it's a little bit of business between now and
exactly. So we'll worry about that when we have.
One of the things that I think is kind of unique with us being the playoffs is that everybody's out on the road recruiting. In fact, there's a big recruiting fair at Valor Christian that a couple of coaches left right after practice today to drive to Valor Christian, and they're up in the recruiting. But there's only one school that has a trophy on their thing right now. And
well, and maybe they took it with them. Just throw out a card table and set it there and go,
here you go.
Come here.
Yeah, who wants to come to CSU Pueblo and win? Exactly right. We are at Andy Max. It is the John Wristen Show. We got one more segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about this week's opponent, Grand Valley State. That all comes your way next on Fox Sports Pueblo.
The John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
Really understory this whole game is we got to play something we haven't played yet, and there's not that revenge factor, the redemption factor. I do think they'll be motivated since they're defending Division II national champs. That'll get their attention, but at the same time, we're not going to have those experiences to lean on like the other two opponents.
And welcome back to Andy Max, John Wristen Show. That, of course, the words of head coach Matt Mitchell of the Grand Valley State Lakers as they come to town to take on the Thunderwolves this Saturday.
And what did he say? I couldn't understand a word he said, other than we don't expect to win. What? Is that what I heard?
He didn't say that.
Is that what I heard?
No.
What did I hear?
He said something about they get their full attention of their team in the national.
I thought we're not any good and CSU's going to kill us.
That's why you write for.
That's what I heard.
That's the newspaper guy.
That's the newspaper.
That's what I heard. I'll go back and listen again.
Yeah, I watched this whole. They have a little presser they do on either Monday or Tuesday. It's online on the Jim Brooks fan page if you want to see it, all 15 minutes of it. He had two players up there, and they said about 4 words the entire time, and he talked the whole time. But
it's funny, they were just here. It seems like forever ago because the run you made last year and the playoffs and the length of the season, but they were just here. A lot of the guys on that team played in this game. A lot of guys on your team played in that game, so it's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, and so I'm glad we're playing them here.
Yes,
and they're a very good football team, and we got people from all over the country listening to the show. Like Shriver's in L.A. and he's listening to it. Got to give a shout out to Farmers Insurance and Kevin Shriver. It's a great Pac fan. And in fact, they flew down those son of a guns.
I know.
Exactly.
It was. I was just thinking that's the Buddy Holly story. Which one's Richie Valens? Which one's the Big Bopper?
The Big Bopper.
And just those little planes in that bad weather. But maybe when you're on top of it, it's not bad.
Well, quickly, one of our listeners wants to know: did you make the room reservations for Grand Valley, or they have to stay in Fountain?
I really tried to get him in Walsenburg if I could, but we got him here in Pueblo, and that's the right thing we should do because we run a class program and a class university, and so. but I thought about Walsenburg.
There you go.
All right.
Well, Kevin Shriver is checking in. He says, "Go Pack." He's bragging about you out there in L.A. And then now our final listener question transitions us right into the ball game. Preparing for Grand Valley State, the listener wants to know who or what does Grand Valley State bring to the table? Are they a running team, a passing team? Who are the players to watch? What do they do on defense? Just kind of a quick little synopsis of what you're looking at for this Grand Valley Laker ball club.
Well, one, I think that their receiving core is going to be as good as any receiving core that we've faced, and they're big play guys. This quarterback, it reminds me a lot of Chris Bonner. I think he throws the deep ball as good as anybody around, and they're going to throw it up and hope their guys can make some plays. And so, their quarterback is a big 6'5" kid. And
Bart Williams?
Yeah.
41 touchdowns.
What's that?
41
touchdowns. And
that's a bunch.
That's a lot of touchdowns. And so, And last week against Ferris, they just threw it up, and those guys made plays, and it jumped up and made plays over the Ferris defensive backs. And so we're nervous about that. They have a kid that came in and played against us last year, Potts, number 15, that I thought was one of the best athletes ever been played on that field. And so he's back. He's a professional baseball player.
Right.
He is a guy that's also their punter. Just a tremendous. He's a 6'3", 225, 230-pound. Great athlete, knows how to body you up, position his body to go catch the ball and being able to do those things. And so, and their running game, I think they want to throw the ball in first, run the ball second, and so you got to be careful with your numbers in the box or not. Their offensive line is very good. I think they're getting better as the season goes on. They had to beat two teams that they lost to end up at this point. And, if you're looking at as we were 3 weeks ago, about the bracket that we're in, and you would say, well, Grand Valley's got to go to Ashland, and that could be a coin flip. But we know how hard it is to beat a team that's already beaten you. You beat them twice. And so I think Grand Valley played a heck of a ball game at Ashland, and so they got to go play Ferris. And they had not beat Ferris in
Ferris
four.
Thrashed them.
And so, they had that little chip on their shoulder called Little Mo and a cause, and they were all going to do something else. And so, I think that they're on a mission. This Grand Valley team's on a mission. And so they were able to do some things with running the ball and formation-wise. But there's this quarterback, I think, he's going to keep chucking it, and these receivers are outstanding. I think they're going to get their big playback guy, Beam, number 3.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
And I think, Potts didn't play a whole bunch. He pulled a hamstring in the Ashland game and played very little at Ferris, but they had 84 come in, and his name is drawn a blank on me.
Smith.
And
Wristen Smith.
Yeah, and 24 came in and did some great things. And so, it's going to be a nice matchup for us. On defense, though, they have the Cliff Harris.
He won it. They announced today, Matt Juden, the defensive end from Grand Valley.
Number 9.
He won the Cliff Harris Award today, and I guess Morgan Fox finished second in the Valley.
Yeah, Morgan Fox finished second in that. And so, but I think that their defense ends are going to be as good as anybody we've faced. And that Juden, he's a big, long, explosive, can run, loves to rush the passer, can get up the field, covers a lot of ground, and then their linebacker core is really talented. And this 38 kid is awesome, and 16 is a great player, and he's a guy that we got to watch out for. And it's going to be really interesting to see how we match up. I tell you, number 6 that comes in and plays a little bit is really a talented player. Is linebacker.
Is it legal to tackle by the hair?
Is it legal to tackle by the hair? Yeah. I mean, it's
because when you see vulnerable. When you see the locks on this Bart Williams, I mean, those of us that have had hair envy most of our lives, or this guy's. I've never seen hair come out of a quarterback like this. This is
he's something else.
Oh my!
Right. Now, the one thing Coach Matt Mitchell talked about in his little presser this week, they asked him, well, who have you faced that reminds you of CSU Pueblo? And he sat there and he kind of went, nobody. And he went on to describe, they know they have problems. Teams that have to prepare for you, the first thing they talk about, they got all those tight ends, they got the fullbacks, they're coming at you. You have to be ready. You have to bring your lunch and be ready to play a physical football game.
Yeah, I think that's we're not no huddle. We're not the new cool wave. We're kind of roll up our sleeves and we do it our way, and we do it the Pack way, and we try to utilize our personnel, and I believe that's putting all those pieces of the puzzle together. And so we do it both on offense and defense, and try to play a physical style, and try to do it the old steel mill style of doing it.
There you go.
Well, and he said, Matt Mitchell, when I talked to him yesterday at length, he said that one of the strangest things for him is every defense they face, is a 4-3.
Right.
And all the defenses kind of back east are kind of 4-3s.
Yeah.
And that whole
3-4.
conference. And he goes, the RMAC's kind of a 3-4 hybrid. He goes, we look at some of their guys and wonder where they're coming from, and it's never the same. I go, well, that's by design, of course, but the 3-4 base is something that they haven't seen all year.
And that's, by design. Coach Hughes and Coach Liamidi and Coach Fetters have done a great job. JT Haddon, his coach of defense line, has done an outstanding job. And, with the 3-4, you never know where a guy's coming from. And so we knew we weren't going to be able to go recruit the bigger size defensive tackles you need to play with the 3-4. So let's get those little undersized, developing them, and help them grow up into be fine young men, and help develop to be great football players with their physical tools they got. And so our things is our quickness, and that's what I like to be able to hang our hat on.
Well, John, finally, as we get ready for this ball game, your final message to the fans. I know you want them out there in force. We saw what a big difference the fans made last year against West Georgia in the semifinal game. I'm sure you'd like to see the same type of atmosphere for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and it's tough on everybody. It's a shame that we have two games here in the first part of December. That means we got two successful programs, and one, I want to wish East High School the best of luck in their run to be a state championship. How about in this great history of this city, there's no other team that's won back-to-back
they got a chance.
State championships, and they got it. And my hat's off to East High School to be able to do that. So my challenge is this. We need everybody there at noon. We need everybody there to welcome the guys there. You can still make the second half of the East game to help them celebrate. You can still help us. And so my challenge to the city of Pueblo is come out and wear their red, white, and blue, and go in your car and change your sweatshirt, and have a gold sweatshirt, a jacket on, change your hat, be prepared to do that. If we're a city that comes out for events, as you talk about, there's no better event than having a college football game and a state championship high school in their own town. And we need everybody to come out and be loud and proud to be a part of that. So,
all right, we're looking forward to it, John. Good luck to you. Tony Wright will have that ball game over on KCSJ, the high school game. Of course, we'll be on the air at 11:30 right here on Fox Sports Pueblo. 12 o'clock kickoff for the national quarterfinal against Grand Valley State. Special thanks, of course, to Tony Wright, our producer and engineer, everybody here at Andy Max, all of our fans in the house. You make it great. All of our fans have checked in with questions as well. For Joe Cervi, for the coach, John Wristen, I'm Jim Brooks. Good night, everybody.
Go Pack.